Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my reading goals for October, but I'm also going to be talking about a special event that I am doing in October for my channel. Well, let's get right to it. So last year on my channel, I did something that I'd never done before. I did a special event that I called Lovecraftober. And I picked 4 books out of all the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. And I read those, and I kind of talked about and reviewed them on my channel at the end of October. So kind of during a wrap up of sorts, and that was pretty fun. And I decided to go ahead and do that again this year. So I will be reading 5 stories this time around out of H.P. Lovecraft's stories, but I will also be reading other Lovecraft-esque books and a few other books as well. So I'm going to talk all about my reading goals for October, but specifically focused on the Lovecraft stories. So here we go. Let's get to it. Let's start with the Lovecraft stories that H.P. Lovecraft actually wrote himself. I have decided to read The Color Out of Space, which has been a story that I've heard a lot of good things about, and I've been very excited to read it. I know there was one movie made about it a few years back with Nicolas Cage, I think. So I may try to watch the movie after I read the story, but we'll see if I have time for that, if I'm able to get a chance to do it. So there's The Color Out of Space, Pickman's Model, The Horror at Red Hook, Beyond the Wall of Sleep, and The Cats of Ulthar. All of those sounded pretty interesting, and you may think that sounds kind of daunting, but they're short. They're just short stories. Most of H.P. Lovecraft stuff is short fiction with a few exceptions. So I'm very much looking forward to reading those in October. And then I'm going to be reading some other books as well. So I found a book not long ago called the Cthulhu Case Books. It's actually a series of books, mystery books with Sherlock Holmes. And they're basically Sherlock Holmes meets H.P. Lovecraft style of stories. And normally I wouldn't just buy a book at random, but I read the blurb and it sounded pretty interesting and it got decent reviews. So I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'm going to pick that up and see what it's like. So I will be reading that in October. So look forward to hearing more about that when I do my wrap up for Lovecraftober. I'm going to be reading Fragile Things by Neil Gaiman. I am going to read the entire book, but I picked it specifically because there is a story in Fragile Things called A Study in Emerald. That is also a Sherlock Holmes meets Lovecraft type of story. So I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes and Lovecraft as well. So there's nothing better for me than a good mashup of the two. So I'm looking forward to reading that. But I'm looking forward to reading the whole book as well. Fragile Things is one book that I still have not read by Neil Gaiman. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a collection of short stories. So it should go pretty quick, I think. I'm also going to read The Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. That is the second book of short stories in the Witcher series. So I will be reading that. I'm trying to at least read Sword of Destiny and Blood of Elves this year before the season 2 of Witcher comes out. So Hopefully I'm going to be able to get to that in October. That's the goal anyway. And I missed out on reading Sandman in September. I did not get to Sandman at all, even though I planned to. So I will be hopefully catching up on reading Sandman in October. And they're spooky and weird, so October's a great month to read some Sandman. So I'm going to be reading that. Then I have some maybe goals. I did not get to Song by Jesse Teller, which I had planned to read in September. And September was just a crap month for reading, to be perfectly honest. I didn't get very much read, but you'll see my September wrap up eventually here. And then I'm also hoping to get to more Agatha Christie, specifically Death on the Nile. The movie is coming out here probably within the next few months. I haven't heard anything recently, but I'm excited to see what they do with it, and so I want to reread the book. I did read it a long time ago, but I mean, this was many years ago. So I want to read Death on the Nile, and so hopefully I will get to that in October as well. So let me know what you think of my reading goals for October. Have you read any of these books? Have you enjoyed them? Specifically some of the ones that I mentioned, like the Cthulhu Case books. I don't know much about it other than what I read about it, and it sounded good. So let me know in the comments what you think. And I think that's it, guys. Make sure you are reading more books, and I will talk to you soon. Happy spooky season.